Morning. Morning, morning, morning. How's everyone doing? Welcome back. I don't think that China ease is really making much of a change here. No. All right. We'll wait for some more people to trickle in here. Welcome back to the live stream. Definitely a lot to look at today. Definitely some big levels to be focused on. We'll sort of reiterate some of the things I talked about in yesterday's video. But yeah, just sort of clicking through a few names here. Definitely some stuff to keep an eye out for. So today, we're what time do you get up? I get up around 6:30. 6:30 is around the time I get up. I'll talk a little bit about my thoughts today about the move, about what levels to watch out for, on whether the continuation will come in or not. There's some very important. There's a very important SPY level to be focused on today. I think that will really show you whether this move continues today or if it maybe tries to do a little choppy action today. There's a level that we need to focus on. So I think that will tell you what you need to know. So we'll get into all of that today on the stream. But we'll wait a few minutes for some more people to step in. Hope everyone's having a good morning. Hope everyone is having a good week so far. It's Wednesday, hump day. What happened yesterday? Anything big happened yesterday? Well, obviously the downside. Took some nice trades on Amazon and Amazon. What did we trade? Oh, Amazon and Meta. Some nice setups there. We took those on the voice chat live. So nice job, guys. If you're in the chat, well done on that. Took a loss on my Microsoft. I got a little pimple over here. It sort of hurts. Microsoft took a loss on that. Took a really small win on my Apple swing. And then what else? And then that's really all the actions I took there. And then did you guys see Enphase yesterday? That one hurts. Enphase, so you guys know I had shorts on Enphase, got stopped out of it, and then yesterday was it down like 8%. So I'm going to be watching Enphase again. I'm not going to let it suck me in this one, this time too early. So we're definitely going to be watching Enphase today as well. So that was interesting yesterday. Spain lost. Yeah. What else? Anything else exciting happened yesterday? Oh, I met someone in I won't share his name, but I met someone from the Discord in person. That was the first time ever. That was a big one for me. He bought me a bottle of Cristalino. That was nice of him. So that was my day. Hope everyone had a good day as well. Let's get started here. So yesterday we saw the big downside. We broke some key levels that we talked about here in the live stream, and now we're at some more key levels to be watching today. If we break these again, then we should expect more downside. So the one thing that's in my mind that is keeping me, sort of grounded here is that we have CPI next week. We have a little bit of economic data both tomorrow and also, oh, there you are. I see you in the chat. Both tomorrow, Friday, and then we have CPI next week. So, it's interesting, right? I'm on the side of us not getting a monster move before CPI. It seems to me as the CPI move should be that sort of deciding factor, but who knows, right? The market may move before that. It may overcorrect itself or overextend itself before CPI. I'm on the side of waiting, thinking that the market chops around until that event, but who knows, right? That's not something I can predict. But that's something that's in the back of my mind. Be careful of maybe some chop after this big, the last 2 days to the downside. Maybe a little bit of chop here, maybe a little bit of support that steps in, and then sort of buy time until CPI. That kind of idea. Or we break this level today on the SPY, and we could definitely see some downside continuation. So today we'll look at the futures, the S&P, the NASDAQ, Dow, and Russell, the earnings and economic news. The economic calendar, we do have some on the economic calendar today. Nothing crazy, but we do start to get heavy into Thursday, Friday. So today in the pre-market, we have productivity revisions, unit labor cost revision. That's at 8:30. We'll see if there's any movement on that today in the pre-market on the stream here. Jobless claims on Thursday, and then we have PPI on Friday. So do we maybe chop around until we get a little taste here on PPI, consumer sentiment, 5-year inflation expectations? Can we maybe get a little taste of a move here on Friday? And then on next week is CPI here on Tuesday next week. So this is the big move in my opinion. This is like the market deciding move. Like if let's say we pop on let's say we move a little bit higher this week. I don't think, any type of move before Tuesday means much of anything. I think CPI is really the move that will stick, whichever direction that takes us. I think that's the move that sticks. We got to get our reading on CPI here. We have to see how the CPI number has been affected. So from today till Tuesday, short-term trades, short-term opportunities, take those profits, take whatever move we get intraday. Don't get, either side. Don't think that either side is definitely coming in. That's what I've been saying. That's what I've been doing. Yesterday, traded the downside. Day before that, traded some upside, right? Just trading the upside, trading the downside, trading what the market gives us on a daily basis. And then on Tuesday, maybe you can get a little bit more decision of the next market move. I think this is probably the big one. And then Fed Chair Jerome Powell on Wednesday of next week as well. So until Tuesday, I say short-term minded, short-term memory, trade what's on there, trade what's on the screen. And then Tuesday we'll see that real move. So that's that. Economic or the earnings calendar. What do we got? We got Costco. That's really it. I'm not going to pull it up again. It's Costco tomorrow. That's really the big one. All right. So we're going to look at AMD and Nvidia. I'm going to sort of watch those levels. AMD, Nvidia, those are big today. I like some of the breakdowns that I'm seeing on those names. So I want to show you guys some of these short levels that I'm watching. Tesla 178 or 176. I'm sort of looking at these retest levels, either to 178 or 176. Apple, I'm watching Apple if it breaks under 140 today. Definitely something I'm watching today on Apple. Meta into 108. I like the Meta pullback that we saw yesterday, keeping an eye on this. TSM. TSM has been sitting suspended on thin air because of the Warren Buffett purchase, the stake that he took, and TSM can very well pull back and fill some of the gaps below. So definitely watching TSM today. It's suspended. There's nothing below it. It's a bunch of gaps. And if we start to lose steam again today, then I am definitely going to be keeping an eye on TSM. Maybe we have to wait till next week, but this is definitely going to be a watch. Enphase put, definitely watching that one again. And then Amazon, crazy week, crazy week on Amazon. Okay, I don't know what's going on with that stock, but we can clearly see the weakness that's been coming in, and I want to share it with you guys today. All right. So that's what I got for you. After that, we'll go to the ticker form. I will put MRK on there for whoever keeps on typing that in the chat. I'll try to remember that one. That's the calendar. Let's get started. NASDAQ. So this is the big level, and we're actually sort of breaking it here right now. So here is the important level, in my opinion. Here is the level that I would be focused on today, and that is 11,465. 11,465 on the NASDAQ is the lows of last Tuesday. The lows of last Tuesday, 11,465 on the dot. If we zoom out, we can see that this is the extreme low of the previous. This is basically 1 month. This is about a month. So this is about a month of trading right here. And the extreme low of this month of trading, this channel, is 11,465. That is right here. Which we did, we broke it. If we go into the short-term time frame, if we pop back into this 465 level here and we start to reject it, which we actually could be doing as I speak right now, if we turn this 11,465 low of the last month into a rejection point today, I would expect more downside. Okay? If we cannot regain 11,465, or you could even be watching yesterday's lows, which is around 11.5. If we cannot regain this area, I would say this entire area between 465 and 11.5, if we cannot regain that, then I would be looking for downside continuation. Right? Simple as that. If we reject yesterday's lows, if we reject 465, then I would look for downside on the NASDAQ. That is the extreme low since, if you sort of look at this consolidation, since this is November 10th, and November 10th is the CPI move, right? This is CPI right here. This is your big move off CPI, and you sort of consolidated above 11,465 since then. So if we get that rejection today, which is right here, I would look for that downside move, right? So 11, this is CPI, right? 1110? I'm almost 100% positive. Let me just double check so I'm not speaking incorrect. Not speaking out of my you know what. Yes, that is. That is November 10th CPI. Okay, so that's your CPI move on November 10th. Look to see if this low turns into a rejection point. If it does, very important. And very telling, right? That is telling if you see that happen today. You have the 50 SMA. I don't think that's too important here. I mean, maybe you see something off that 50 SMA there on the daily chart. That's around 11.4. But the big thing, the major thing, what I am going to be watching today, without a doubt, is this short-term time frame. Do we reject 11,465? That is the low of the last month. If we get a rejection there, I am convicted to potentially look for more downside. If we break 465, then my next watch is going to be yesterday's lows. Okay? Yesterday's lows, this little double bottom, which is around 11.5. So 11.5, 11.465, those are your short-term watches. If we find a way above yesterday's lows and turn them into support, then you're probably going to get that chop day that I'm talking about, right? You're probably just going to see, a little bit of a move, maybe an inside day from yesterday, a little bit of mess here, and then it's just going to be a terrible day, honestly. I mean, if we get a push to the upside, if we hold yesterday's lows, I don't think that you're going to see like a move that actually gives you some nice juice, some nice upside plays. You'll probably just sort of hold on for dear life again. I would rather see, as a trader, right, I would rather see the rejection of 465 here or the rejection of yesterday's lows for a trade setup. That would be what I want to see for trading today. And you can sort of see as we speak, you're definitely starting to see something at this 465 area. We'll see how it reacts. But that's what I'm watching. Yesterday's lows, 11,465 on the NASDAQ. Keep an eye on those levels today. ES. The ES, the extreme low here on the ES is at 39. What is this low here? The low here is 39.1250, 39.14, 39.15. It's all in this zone, right? 39.14, 39.12. This is the low that I'm going to be watching today. Okay? That's also right near, I believe, the 100 SMA on the ES. So a little bit below it. So, yeah, I would say we're probably breaking below that 100. I'm going to take that off. I don't really like that right now. I don't think that really tells us much. I think the important watch is going to be this low right here. 39.14, 39.12. It's a little bit of a zone. It's not perfect, but right in this general area is what I'd be watching. You can see yesterday, or in the pre-market today, and after that little bounce into end of day, we rejected these lows here around 39.50. right? So we rejected these lows, turned them into a rejection point. That's important, right? That's bearish to see that right there. 39.50 turning into a rejection. You can even see that happen yesterday at open, right? Look at what we've been doing. We've been turning the previous day lows into rejection points. Right here, previous day low, rejection point. Right here, previous lows, rejection point. So if we continue to do that same pattern where we're rejecting the previous day lows, then we have to stay bearish here. Short-term time frame, you guys can see. If I go to let me get a little bit more time here. If we look at this chart, right, you guys can see we're trying to hold on to this extreme low. Let me go ahead and get this correct for you here. You can see right here, this is back on the 17th of November. If we try to hold on to that, maybe there's a little short-term bounce. If not, if we break that, then I think you have, all systems go for a little bit more downside here, right? Then you're basically just in this CPI move. So watch out for that today. If we do not hold this 39.14, 39.15 area, I would expect there to be some slippage in this area of CPI straight upside, right? Of course, you have to expect that. If we get any type of bounce off this level, here's what I would watch. Let me go ahead and zoom in. I would be watching the 39.50 rejection, right? I would look for the 39.50 rejection, and if it's an extreme weak move, you can even look for yesterday's lows rejection, 39.26. Let me go to the 5-minute chart. Here's what I would look for on the rejection side. You're either looking at yesterday's lows, which is around 39.25, or you're looking at the 39.50 rejection. Right? Those are the two rejection points that I would watch. Either here, 39.25, which may be coming in right now, or 39.50. If we drop 39.15, right, that is even if we get this right now, this is a really sick break and retest. If we get this right now, look at what's going on here. Break, retest, rejection. So, if we get that right now, as it is, this was a great little futures trade as I speak. Break, retest previous lows, reject the previous lows, go short, look for the slip. There you go. Got yourself a trade right there. But yeah, so 39.25, 39.50. If we reject the 25, if we break that 39.15, I think you're looking at a slippery day here, because if we go to this hourly chart, we'll pop up the volume profile for you, chef. It's going to be nothing. Look, right? You break this last shelf here. But who knows, right? Do we make that type of move before CPI? That's the question. That's the question that everyone's going to be on everyone's mind today. Do we get this CPI, right? Do we give up the last CPI move before the next CPI? That's going to be the question today, right? So 39.14, 39.15, we break that. Might get slippery here. If we hold it, look for these rejections, 39.25, 39.50. I would not, the market's done things that I never would have expected, but I would not expect anything major to the upside. Maybe a little bit of chop to sort of, get some people out of positions. But 39.15. I'm going to go to the SPY ETF because there is a very distinct level on the SPY ETF, and that is 390, right? I think 390, if you're watching the SPY ETF, I think 390 is what you have to watch today, right? 390. It's as easy as that. That's the low of this candle here. It's pretty much the exact low, 390.04. If you break 390 on the SPY, that's the sort of the same concept here. 390 on the SPY, you got nothing, right? Nothing to hold this market up. So if you watch the SPY ETF, make sure to have your line there at 390. We're a little bit over that right now, okay? We're holding about $1 above that right now, 390. So that's what I would watch there, 390 on the SPY ETF if you are watching that. All right, let's go to the Dow. So the Dow is actually breaking down some important levels here. The Dow rejected this. We had it pretty close, right? You can see it popped a little bit above it, but it looks like it's more rejecting these previous lows around this 33,700, right in there. So let me delete some of this, get this cleaned up a little bit. So 33.7, that's your new rejection point, right? Previous lows into a rejection. This is a break and retest, right? If you know about the break and retest, this is a break of a previous double bottom support. It's a retest of the double bottom support, and it's a rejection of the double bottom previous support. So that's a very nice break and retest there on the Dow. You can see for now it's trying to hold this, what is this, 33,450 area. A little bit of a choppy area. You can see this whole area has a lot of wicks. Look at all these wicks over here. You got a wick here, got a wick here, got a quick downside, but then a quick upside move there. But it looks like the general base on the Dow here is around 33,450. So that's what I would watch today. You guys can see here on the Dow, 33,450, 33,450. If you're looking at the Dow, if you break 33,450, if you turn it into a rejection point, then you got yourself that nice downside move, right? If you turn this low into a rejection point today, that's your downside confirmation. If you stay above 33,450, then you could probably see something like this today, to be quite honest, right? You're probably going to see something like this today. If you just hold this 33,450, if you reject this 33.7, you're just going to see that chop fest on the Dow. If you break down under 33,450, look for the break and retest to the downside. Russell broke its 1840 level, right? I would say the next stop for the Russell is down here to 1780. That's where your next level is. This is just a chop zone. So your next level is probably down to this 1770, 1780 on the Russell. So that would be my target there on the Russell if we continue lower. Down here at this previous bottom at 1770. All right. So ES 39.15. You guys can see if we get back above yesterday's lows here, we might find a little bit of support, right? We might bounce a little bit here. If we get above yesterday's lows right here, you might bounce a little bit off of it. Or you're bouncing a little bit off that 39.15. If you get above yesterday's lows, you might get a little continuation here. That's 39.25 and then 39.50. And on the NASDAQ, I would watch this 11,465, which we are sitting at right now, and then 11.5, right? But we are getting a little bit of support stepping in at those lows. And then on the SPY, I think the most important level is yesterday's lows. Again, same exact thing as the ES. Yesterday's lows, which is, you could say, is around this 392 area, and then the 390 area. Okay? So you're just going to have to watch today, right? There's a lot of possibilities, but we're just going to have to watch today, see how this market works out. If the ES rejects yesterday's lows, I think that's your most bearish case. All right, if we get a rejection right here at yesterday's lows, that's your most bearish case. This previous double bottom from yesterday, if that rejects right here and moves lower, that's your bear case, extreme bear case. All right, let's continue. Nvidia. So Nvidia broke a 4-hour uptrend yesterday, and yeah, this could definitely sort of slip here in my opinion. So you had a 4-hour uptrend here on Nvidia that's been holding for since about October, right? We continued to hold this 4-hour uptrend, and yesterday we got the slip. We slipped below it. We slipped below 160, and I could definitely see this continuing. So this is definitely a short watch for me today. If we continue under 160, if we reject 160, my target is going to be back to this 150 area. I think it's possible to see Nvidia just sort of get back into this channel low. You've been channeling here between 150 and 170. If we sort of continue to the downside today, I would look for that move to 150. Maybe you'd look for a retest of the 160 before getting short, right? If we sort of bounce here at open, have any type of opening bounce move, then look for the 160 rejection on any type of bounce. You guys can see right here, previous rejection, previous rejection. It tried to hold yesterday. If you bounce into that 160, look for that to reject. But I would say ultimate target for me is down to this 150 level, right? AMD, same thing. AMD, actually, you know what? I want to show you guys something on AMD, which I actually sort of failed to realize, which is a mistake of mine because I probably would have gotten aggressive on this setup. If I go to the weekly chart on AMD, look at this very, very clean rejection. I sort of missed this one. I'm a little upset about it. So this is the weekly chart on AMD. Look at the base that was formed here between, this is July 2020 to May of 2021. So that is a very long time. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's a year almost. Yeah, it's almost a year. What is that, 10 months? So 10 months we just based here at 75 on AMD. And look at the move we just got into 75. And man, did I miss this, because I don't know why I was not checking this weekly chart. But that was, I mean, look at that. Right into 75, right into that weekly base from 2 years ago. And look at the rejection that came in right at that exact level. And the 100 SMA. So, man, do I wish I caught that one. So, very nice on AMD. Nice downside move. If we drop 69, then I would look for more downside. Okay? So if you can see right here, rejection, 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 rejection. If we drop 69, you guys can see that all that support or that rejection that came in at that level. If we drop this level, then I would look for more downside. Right? I would look for us to give back some of this CPI move here on the 10th. So watch the 69 level on AMD. If we drop that, I'd look for more, or there could be some type of short-term bounce off that 69 level as well. So keep an eye on that. But overall, a very nice rejection at 75, the 100 SMA. And if you think this market continues lower over time, this could very well be your short entry for a longer dated put option, right? You could very well see this weekly support from 2 years ago turn into a rejection. You can see this downtrend continue, right? It's sort of that same sort of trend that's been sort of continuing, right? You can see that continue. This is your push. This is your rejection on the weekly chart. This is sort of an idea for a longer term trade. You can't watch this on an intraday basis. If you want to take a longer dated put, if you're someone that believes the market moves lower, this is a entry on AMD that I would actually sort of like, maybe for a move back down to 50. It's the same thing as taking the entries here, right? At these peaks. So interesting there. I would keep an eye on it. See what happens there today at that 69 level. All right, Tesla. Pull that up. 4-hour chart on Tesla. We broke a pretty important 178 level yesterday. Let me get this all. Let me make sure this looks good here. Yeah, this is probably the right time frame. 178 was this previous support since since the 23rd of November. So we had 178 here, we had 178 here, we had 178 here. We had a little bit of 178 yesterday temporarily. You can see we did slip below it. We pushed into that 176. Then you can see all day yesterday, Tesla outperformed. Very interesting, right? Tesla was sort of outperforming almost all day yesterday. It actually closed almost flat on the day. I mean, barely off on the day. Very weird, on Tesla there. 178 it really tried to hold on yesterday. But you can see this morning we gave it up. We even gave up the previous day lows, which is around 176. So for the short-term trading, I would look for a rejection of 176 right here. Look for a rejection of previous lows for a short opportunity, or you can even look for a rejection of the 178 for a short opportunity. Those would be my two watches on Tesla today for downside, 176, 178. If we go to the 4-hour chart, you could say this is an inverse head and shoulder. You'd really have to hold like 176 here. But I would not trust an inverse head and shoulder on a market that's heading into CPI I'm not going to buy calls on a Tesla inverse head and shoulder with CPI next week. It's just makes no sense, right? You unless you think CPI is bullish. If you think CPI is bullish, then buy it. But that's you guessing. If you want to guess, then be my guest. If you want to guess, be my guest. Last CPI was November 10th. All right. So that's Tesla. On the short side, right, I'm just focusing on the short-term opportunities here. I would look for a 178 rejection or a 176 rejection today for short-term trades. Either a rejection of previous day low or a rejection of the previous support at 178. Okay. We have some data here. Are we going to get movement off this data? Let's see. A little bit of a pop there. Let's see if there's any movement off the data here. Q3 non-farm productivity revised 0.8 versus 0.9. I mean, I'm not really sure how this. Okay, unit labor cost revised 2.4, preliminary 3 point. I mean, so the labor costs are lower. That's interesting. Labor costs lower. I think that's really the key takeaway here. Labor cost. Unit labor costs revised 2.4%. Estimated 3.1. Previous 3.5. Okay. Not really much movement off that. I didn't really expect there to be much off that. So that's just wanted to point that out. That's the news that we got out today. I don't expect much movement off that here today. All right, let's go Apple. Apple, big breakdown yesterday. We are right back to that 140 level. All right, you can see right here, we are right back to that 140 level. So today, I would look for either a little pop off 140, maybe there's some type of move off this 140 area, or I think another great opportunity today would be a break and retest of these lows right here. 140.35. If we put our line at 140.35, right around there, I would look for, if you get more downside on the market, look for the break, look for the retest, look for the move back to 135. If you reject this previous low here and you turn it into a resistance point, that is your confirmation for downside. So I will be watching that today. I'll be looking to see if Apple pushes lower. If we reject this previous low, if we turn that into a rejection point, I will absolutely be looking for that downside. Or, right, if I see the market sort of hold up and Apple defends this 140, maybe there's something off of this 140 double bottom. That's going to have to be for us to decide what the intraday looks like. But if we see that weakness step in, right, I'm going to be looking for Apple on a break and retest of 140.35 today. That's definitely one of my main watches. Meta. So Meta had a nice run, but Meta had some news yesterday, and it just sort of died off. I traded Meta yesterday to the downside. We traded it on the break of 117, the break and retest of 117. Now, why was I looking at the break and retest of 117? That was these lows right here. So we had some previous lows at 117. You guys can see right here. Previous low here, previous low here. This 117 level, in my opinion, was important. And if I go to the 5-minute chart, actually, I think it was on the 1 minute. Right here is where I entered my puts. I entered my puts on the break of the retest of this 117. Had to be a little bit patient here because we did get below 117, but we sort of chopped around. We sort of messed around under that 117. I thought it would be a little bit quicker. It was not. So I stayed patient, got that slip here, and this is where I took my profit on this push down to the downside. Probably could have, obviously held this a little bit more, but I took that quick profit and a nice put play on Meta. If you guys are in the Discord, you heard it live. Meta filled its gap, right? Meta filled its gap pretty much. I mean, you probably could say it could have went up to like 128, but it did come back to these previous lows, and you can see right as it filled that gap, right around this 125, it rejected. This is a gap close reversal type play. You guys can see gap close the gap, starting to reverse off that gap close, and obviously the market assisted in the downside. In my opinion here, I mean, I don't see much of any support until 108. I would not trust Meta anywhere to the upside until at least a pullback to 108. This would be the only place I'd even consider taking a long on Meta. You have to get it back to the channel low, right? When you see a stock like this, and I'll pull up Google, it looks pretty much the same. when you see a stock that's pushed up and now has sort of aggressively pulled back and is sort of in the middle, you need to see it back to these channel lows, in my opinion. That's how I would trade it. So I would look for shorts on Meta into 108, right? Or if you get to 108, I would look to see if there's any type of support that steps in at this 108. But until it hits 108, I would not look for longs. I would look for maybe this to slip back to 108. If it bounces today, this is what I'd look for. Right? If you get a bounce today, I would look to short it at 117. Right here. That would be my short look. Right? If you get a bounce today on Meta, look for a short off 117. Maybe you get a bounce into end of week. I would look for a short at 117 for the eventual move back down to 108. All right, that's Meta. TSM. So let's just take a second and look at the TSM daily chart. Look at this island. I mean, TSM is literally just sort of sitting up here on nothing, right, on thin air. So I think it's 79. I think that's the key level here. I think probably 79 or 78 is the key level that I would be watching today. I'm going to pull it up on the 4-hour. We'll see it a little bit better. But this is an island that TSM can definitely drop below. So I'm going to be watching this. There's a gap here. There's a gap here. There's a gap here. This is basically a straight up move off of 60. If we start to get weak on this market, if the chip stocks start to weaken a little bit, this is definitely on my watch. 4-hour chart here. Actually, you know what? Hourly chart here. If I zoom in. I think it's more 78. I think it's like right around here. 78. It's this wick low. It's these lows here. I'm thinking 78 might trigger the downside move. So I'm going to watch 78. Okay? That's my watch. 78. If we break that, I'm also going to have to monitor this 100 SMA. So this might get a little tricky. It might be a little tricky to guess, exactly where this gives up. But 78 in the 100 SMA, I think, is a good watch. But if I go to this daily chart, right, I can't help but think that there's going to be some kind of pullback here on this just crazy upside move over the last few weeks. So watching that on TSM, I'll call it the TSM Island. Enphase. So Enphase did a little pop above the highs, probably fake people out, including myself, and then came right back down. So Enphase puts were up 1,000% yesterday on the short term, which is sickening because I got stopped out of mine. So will I be watching this again? Yes, I will, because I still think this trade idea is valid. I'm going to be watching this 303, 306 area, these previous lows here, and see if we flush those. I'm also going to see if we lose this little uptrend here on the 4-hour chart. So since the lows on the 4-hour, we've been holding this uptrend. We're sort of right back at it again. You can see we tested it here. We had the test here. We sort of pushed higher and tested it again yesterday. So I'm going to see if this is an uptrend that's worth watching. If we get that slip below that trend, if we get a slip below 303, I'm going to see if I can play this rejection again. Because I think this is still a very valid rejection, and I do not understand why Enphase I understand why it went through high day, because this is a total trap play, right? This is just total trap play, and I fell victim to it. So big push, trap play, get the longs in, take the shorts out, and then push it right back down. And I think this is still very valid. So I'm going to be watching this on Enphase for sure. Okay? But who knows? Maybe it stops me out again, but I'm willing to put that risk on. Amazon, what a weak stock. I would basically just continue to look to short Amazon on any weak market. If you see the market weak, look for Amazon, because Amazon has been extremely weak. I would look to see if 86 drops. If 86 drops, if we drop this low, you're sitting at some pretty extreme lows here. If we drop this 86 low, this is the 2022 low. So Amazon is sitting at the 2022 low, pretty damn close to it. So I would say look for an 85, 80, 86 drop. If we get that drop, maybe look for the continuation to 80. Or, of course, if you think Amazon sort of perks its way back up, then watch this 86 level for a support bounce. But I just wanted to point this out today. Amazon is very weak and continues to be. And you can see we are back at the 2022 lows on Amazon. So watch out for that. 85, 87 is the extreme low. I would say that 86 area should be something worth watching there. Microsoft, I wanted to pull up because I just wanted to share with you guys what a failed break and retest trade looks like. I was going to make a video on this. I might still. I think it's a good video to make. This is a break and retest that failed, right? That's all it is. And this is where, when I talk about the break and retest, I say that it's not 100% accurate, right? Now, it would have been, if it was a short-term trade, I guess I can't say for sure that, the break and retest didn't work, right? It did work, and it really depends on what time frame you are sort of looking at it for, right? So if I took, like the day I took Microsoft calls off the retest, I was up 50%. So yes, I could say it worked that day, right? I could say, okay, the break and retest worked in the short term. This day right here, break, retest, 248 retest, we held it, and I was up 50% at these highs. Took half off, and then you can see again yesterday, or on Monday, it held that 248 again. So you can see we held the 248 again, and and the retest still worked. Now, ultimately, the retest level just did not have the strength to hold up, of course, with the market moving lower. So in this situation, you could say yes, right? The retest did work in the short term, but, holding it as a swing trade, that's where it didn't work, right? Ultimately, the retest level broke down, and this is where I stopped out of the remainder of my calls on Microsoft at the break of the retest. But, right, the reason I like this retest is because I know where I'm going to exit. I know that if we break 248, I'm out of the trade, and it saves me from losing more. So you can see if I didn't exit at 248, if I just held on and I didn't really know my plan, I didn't know what I was going to do, then I'd be down a lot more today. But exiting yesterday on the break of 248 right here, I just exited my calls. That was it. I said we broke the retest. I got to get out, protect my downside risk, and that's what I did. But just wanted to share this, guys, because yeah, right, in a strong market, this probably would have been a nasty break and retest for a huge upside push, right? That would have been very nice. But of course, it's all about the market, right? It's all about the market. Anything we look at, any technical setup we trade, any kind of strategy that we're looking at, it all is reliant on what the overall market does, right? Nothing is stronger than overall market, the overall market sentiment. So that downside, just wanted to share that with you guys today. Share with you that loss that I took on Microsoft. It's not a bad trade, right? Right? You have to take these losses. You have to take these strategies. You have to take these trades that align with your strategy. If you lose, you learn from it. You understand what went wrong, right? That's trading. So you're never going to be, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Take those. If you like a strategy, if you trade a strategy, trade it. Take losses. Make sure you're within your risk tolerance, and just keep going, man. Keep learning. JPM, Microsoft just went over. Netflix, Airbnb, JPM, and Merck. Those are the four we're going to go over here. JPM, Netflix, Airbnb, and Merck. JPM, banks. I would love the retest, man. I would not touch JPM until this retest of 124. If you think there's pullback on this market, I would look to potentially, look at what the XLF is doing, right? If you guys are trading, whatever stock you're trading, think about real quick what sector is in. So if I'm trading JPM, I need to be looking at the XLF, right? That is what I need to be focused on. The XLF is triple topping. So if the XLF is triple topping, I would say that is going to put weight on JPM. And if the XLF continues lower, JPM should move its way back into this 124, right? And maybe it holds there. Maybe that's the retest you're looking for to go long. Or it breaks 124 and then it just gets very weak. But if the XLF continues lower off that triple top, I would look for JPM into 108. Obviously, that's a big move. It's going to take a while, right? JPM's a slow mover. But watch XLF. If it continues this triple top, watch for that rejection. Netflix didn't quite get to the gap fill. Netflix will also be, I think, a little bit nasty in a weak market. Netflix is not really like a strong mover. It doesn't like hold up its moves. So I would watch maybe this 300. I would say if Netflix loses 300, I think it can get aggressive here. Right? If Netflix loses 300, I would say it gets pretty aggressive to the downside here. Just be careful with Netflix. It is moving up nicely in the recent trend, but Netflix is not like when the market goes down, Netflix goes down, and it has no mercy on anyone. So just be careful on that sense. I would watch 300. I would watch this long-term uptrend. At any point, if Netflix breaks this long-term uptrend, I would say it probably gets pretty nasty. So just watch out for that if the downside comes in. If it does not, right? If the upside holds, I would say look for 300 to hold. Maybe there's an upside move off that. Or if we get a pullback to the uptrend, look for maybe an upside move off that. But yeah, that's what I would watch. The uptrend and 300 on Netflix. What was the other one? Airbnb and Merck. Okay. Airbnb. Ooh, nasty. Ooh, that's a little nasty on Airbnb. Yeah. Shit. Yeah, that's a nasty break on Airbnb, actually. Yeah, downtrend held real well. Airbnb. Wow, I'm surprised Airbnb is getting this wrecked. I don't know if there was news. But yeah, that's a big break under 91, 92. If Airbnb turns this 91.50, 92 into a rejection right here, I would say look for the lows. So watch this previous low on Airbnb. If that turns into a rejection, right, then that could continue lower. Merck, it's healthcare, right? Merck is healthcare. Healthcare's been hot. So see if there's any outperformance on healthcare on Merck. XLV is pretty extended. Maybe there's a pullback on the XLV to this 135, but XLV is still in a bullish scenario. So I'd be careful of shorting anything in the XLV. UNH, is pretty hot. Merck, I'm pretty sure Merck is in the. Let me make sure it's in the XLV. Just double check real quick. Yeah, okay. So yeah, Merck in the XLV. XLV is probably the hottest sector right now. So I would just be a little bit cautious on the short side on the XLV. All right, that's where the money's sort of flowing into. UNH as well. Anything healthcare, including Merck. Here's what I'll say, right? Anyone that's continued to try to short this thing has continued to lose. So if you continue to try to short Merck on this push higher, you're just going to continue to lose, right? So I would probably stay away from this idea. I don't really like it. And I don't like long either because there's no pullback. So, yeah, I would just not touch it, to be quite honest. Unless you really start to break down here, I would probably stay away from this. All right, that's all I got, guys. It's 8:47. Let me quickly recap what we're looking at here on the futures, just to to leave you with some idea of what I'm going to be watching. Here it is. So if I extend this to the left, we can actually, you guys can see this 11,500, previous support. If 11,500 turns into a rejection here today, I would be looking for downside. You guys can see it already is to some extent. Yesterday's lows into a rejection, I would be watching 11.5, right? So 11.5, that's your first watch. That's your first watch to look at a rejection point. If you reject that, look for that 11.460. That 11.5 is not only yesterday's lows, it is the lows before Jerome Powell, right? You guys can see this low before Jerome Powell. You can see this low here. And look at what it's doing at 11.5 right now. Is there something that you need, Rusty? 11.5, watch that. ES, I would be watching it. So it's a little bit above yesterday's lows, which is interesting, but I'm going to keep an eye on those yesterday's lows here around 39.25. See what happens at that. If we drop back below that, I'd look for that 39.15. Maybe you even watch this 100 SMA here, right? Maybe we have to watch this 100 SMA here, 39.40. That could be a watch as well. 39.40, 39.50, and then yesterday's lows, 39.25. All right. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I'm going to post these levels in the Discord chat down below that says free technicals if you want to get them there. If you want to join live and trade live with me every day, you can see it down below. It says trade live with me. Thank you guys for being here. Press that like button before you head out. Subscribe to the channel if you want to stay tuned for more live streams every single day, starting at 8 a.m. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Best of luck. And how do I leave you off? I don't know. Good luck, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.